Well, that was very strange, because in the middle of recording the video that the first part you will see is already uploaded, it just stopped. And, you know, I use this iPhone on the correct setting to do all the videos I do for my astrology channel, and some of them are an hour long and longer, as you know, because I never stop talking. So Sarah was talking about this whole experience being about 30 minutes long, and the video stopped.
So perhaps the subject matter is a little bit sensitive, but let's keep going. So we saw this bright light sort of going across the sky. Was it a plane? I said to Penny, this is really strange. And she said, no, it's a plane, because we're in the flight path from Malta, so we see planes all the time. We realised there wasn't a red light flashing, and we thought, okay, let's watch this, let's monitor this. So we did. And, you know, it clearly was not a plane. It clearly was not anything that we can actually explain. And this encounter came off the back of a previous encounter that I had at 4 o'clock in the morning. So, you know, one does tend to doubt one's sanity at 4 in the morning. So, you know, the first encounter I was a bit sceptical. But my cat had alerted me at 4 in the morning to go and look out of the bedroom window, and I did, feeling somewhat disgruntled, but suddenly thought, oh my goodness, what is he actually looking at? And it was a bright light, which is nothing like a star or a planet. But part of me was saying, oh, I just want to go back to bed. And, you know, I wasn't taking it that seriously. But then that evening said to Penny, I think we might have seen something rather strange in the sky last night. And, you know, this brings us on to our third encounter. Not to sort of,
what was the film?
Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Of the Third Kind.
So I think we might have to watch that and have a bit of a catch up, because I think, you know, it's several decades since I saw that.
Yeah, me too.
So, you know, that brings us on to the third encounter, which again was highlighted to me by my cat, Murray, who is now known as Mystic Murray. And just to add a bit of colour to the proceedings, Penny's going to show you a photograph of him.
Right, hold on.
Because I think you might agree he is quite an unusual looking cat.
Here we go.
So that is Mystic Murray in his little push chair, which he used to use to go out in when we lived in Bangkok, because he used to like to go out and about,
And
but
there's
being
another
deaf,
picture of him.
and it's simply not safe for cats to go out and about there. But he gets into the weirdest positions and the weirdest situations, and you know, he appears to be possibly, well, that's one word for him. I mean, he used to be known as Mad Murray, but we've changed it to Mystic Murray now. And clearly he is a blue light being cat, I think. And my whole rescue of him in Thailand, where he was actually hours from death, appears to have been some sort of mystical encounter, which I didn't appreciate at the time. So, you know, that's obviously, you know, it was meant to be. So just to tell you about the third encounter.
Yeah, what happened? Because he woke you up, didn't he, again?
No, this was a Sunday evening, and it was...
Well, that's right. It was before you came around here.
Well, it was before you were about
I
to do
was
a
doing
live.
my live. I was doing my live.
Yeah,
that
so
was
it was about 5:45 Central European time on a Sunday evening. Penny was just about to do her live, and then I was messaging her going, oh my goodness, you won't believe what has happened. So there's Murray actually looking out at the darkening sky and shouting his head off, alerting me to the fact there was something interesting out there. Now, I live in a 3-storey house, which most of you would know as a townhouse, but here they call a farmhouse, even though I'm nowhere near a farm. And I went up to the top floor where my bedroom is, and there was Murray looking out, shouting and screaming. And I thought, oh my goodness, is there something actually out there again? So actually went out onto my roof terrace, and Penny is showing you a photo of what...
Where my nail is pointing, that bright light.
Yeah, what we initially saw. Now this light was absolutely stationary. It was a time where no stars, no planets had actually come out.
And then
so there was just this light
picture,
in the sky.
And then the next one was, hang on, I think it was this one. Well, there was this one, which, so it wasn't very dark. at that point.
Yeah, so there was literally nothing around it, just this bright light. We saw planes go a long way above and there were vapour trails. So it was nothing like a plane. And it literally hovered there. The whole encounter was about 45 minutes in total. And we, prior to that, there'd been a bit of that humming noise that we'd had with the second encounter.
There's another one.
So there's a vapour trail from a plane above it.
And that's the light that you saw.
Yeah.
And then you came here.
Yeah, I came here, told Penny all about it after she'd done her live.
That's quite a good one because, hang on, let me just go back.
She's faffing with an iPad here.
This one, it's a little bit better to see. It gets a little bit, and try and get it. Because then what we did, when Sarah got here, I enlarged it.
And this is where it gets really interesting. And
so,
the explanations for this, well, we don't know.
So first of all, oops, I nearly said a rude word. So first of all, there was that, which I can just, that was it expanded, and then I expanded it even more and got this. And I think this is really spooky.
So my first thought was, I could see a bearded man in the middle of it. And I said to Penny, can you see that, or am I having a breakdown? And she was, no, I can see that. Maybe I'm having a breakdown as well.
Excuse me covering your face, but it's because the green light for the camera is there. So I want to make sure everyone can see this. So, and what about the bit round the edge?
Yeah, so the bit round the edge, I mean, we actually consider it is Ouroboros, which is basically a snake eating itself. And my sort of simplistic interpretation of that is, this is a message to us that basically the world, the planet is eating itself. We have got to change or everything is going to be destroyed. And that's our interpretation of that.
Yeah.
So I think you'll agree that looks very, very similar.
Oops, hang on. Let's just show you again. So that is, if you look, when we looked really closely at the picture, this was what we saw, with what looked like a bearded man in the middle. Now, good old Mr. Google, if I then go back to my notes, I also looked at just any old planet, or just looked at a light in the sky. So I looked at this, which seemed quite a bright light, and if you expand it with your fingers, it's just a bright light in the sky with a bit of colour around it. So it's probably a planet, I don't know which one, but no image in it. So then, good old, as I say, Mr. Google, where's my notes? Okay, and you've got an iPhone 12, right?
So not the most current model. I'm one of those people that doesn't upgrade every year. So, we would like to be able to get some photos with a much more up-to-date model, but that was all I had to hand at the time. So, but I think you all agree, it's unusual. It's strange.
If you subscribe and we get to over 1,000 subscribers, we get monetized, and then we could afford to buy a camera.
Yes, or I could upgrade to a better phone.
Yes.
And get better photos.
So please like, comment and subscribe. But what I want to do is just go through the meaning of Ouroboros according to the research we did, the searching we did. I didn't use ChatGPT because, sometimes that gets it wrong, because I use it sometimes for my astrology, and then I think that's not right because I've just been doing the year ahead, the 2025 videos. Haven't finished them yet, but this week I will finish them. And they didn't say anything about Mars and Venus going retrograde. This was on ChatGPT, and I thought, because I know Mars and Venus are going retrograde in 2025. And so you can't always rely on ChatGPT. I'm sure they won't love me for saying that, and we'll get a few bots that subscribe and then unsubscribe to kind of make us wobble. But anyway, moving on to Ouroboros, and I want to bring in, actually, at this point, Nancy Rebecca, whom, as you know, also has been in contact with the blue light beings. And there aren't, this isn't an exclusive club. BJ Boss, your comment, you are just as capable of being in contact with the blue light beings as anybody. We're all able to connect with them. And after I've told you about the Ouroboros, I'm going to just read you some channeling that I received, in fact, nearly a year ago, which I'd kind of forgotten about, but I've got it all written down. So as the way to bring this sort of video to a conclusion, we thought it would be a good idea to actually give you a bit of the channeling that I've already received. So we're not channeling live yet in that sense, but I think what's going to happen is we're going to get to a point where we actually channel the blue light beings live on these videos. And that might be in the question and answer live stream that we're hoping to do very soon. But anyway, Nancy Rebecca, and if you don't know who she is, search for her on YouTube. She has a really big channel and she has a lot of very good information about the blue light beings. And she's done some wonderful interviews with the British astrologer Pam Gregory. She said in her recent interview with Pam Gregory that they had sent her a symbol, which was like a circle with a line through it. But it wasn't through the center of this circle, it was through the upper part. Now, I haven't drawn what she showed on her video, but I have drawn a picture of really when you're with the naked eye expanding the photograph that Sarah took. This is really what we saw. It was an outer ring, and then inside you've got what looks like this kind of snake, which is an Ouroboros, eating its tail, and then a man with a beard. I mean, it's bonkers. We know it's bonkers, but we just felt there is no way we cannot share this. Now, I looked up Ouroboros, and it literally means the Ouroboros is often interpreted as a symbol for eternal cyclic renewal of a cycle of life, death, and rebirth. And the snake's skin sloughing symbolizes the transmigration of souls. Any comments, Sarah, at that point?
I think it's rather pertinent that this kind of symbol has been transmitted at this point in time, because I think, we are going through very much a transitional period in the world at large. And I think there are a lot of things that need to change. There are a lot of things that need to improve. And obviously a lot of people need to be collectively raising their consciousness to actually save us, basically, save this planet. So I think, we're not saying we saw a spacecraft or anything. What we're thinking we saw was a symbol. I think they're transmitting symbols.
Yes.
Messages that we need to know and messages that we need to pass on. I'm sure there are other people around the world who are going through the same experience. We just haven't come across them yet. There was a bit of a sort of why us and why Gozo. Now Gozo has obviously the oldest megalithic temples here, and there's a whole.
They're older than the pyramids.
And those were reputed to be portals, weren't they? So there's a lot of sort of historical. How shall we put it? Myths, legends.
There's a lot of energy on the island of Gozo, and the stone, the sandstone. If you look at the wall behind us, that is actually limestone. Is it, or is it sandstone?
I think it's sandstone. Is it
sand? I can't remember now.
I'm not sure.
No, I don't know. Anyway, whatever it is, it's very porous. So these buildings are in fact incredibly cold in the winter because they hold the damp. So even though the outdoor temperature doesn't often go below kind of 15 or 16 degrees Celsius, it can feel freezing indoors. But coming back to the Ouroboros, and because I think everything that Sarah is saying about it, you see, I think as well that this is it's not actually, as we said, a spaceship, but they are projecting, whoever they are, but maybe it's the blue light star beings, and that will bring us to the conclusion of the video when I read this bit out. But I think they are projecting beams of maybe on plasma light or something, I don't know, I'm not a scientist, I have no idea, but kind of projecting an image, and that the right people or people will pick these things up, and they are projecting symbols that is their way of communicating with us, using symbols that are in our collective unconscious to get their point across, to say, look guys, you are destroying your planet, not only with what you're doing to the actual planet, but with the way you're running it, with, you know, I don't have to go into the details, but, you know, I talk about that in the astrology with the, you know, the danger areas, the tipping points, the Middle East, the Eastern Europe, Russia, all of this energy, which is so incredibly destructive. And, you know, what's so interesting, as you know, if you watch my astrology channel, is that the astrology is supporting this. Pluto's move into Aquarius really supports what Sarah and I are experiencing. And I find that fascinating, because the potential over the next 20 years for the whole planet to recognize that we are definitely not alone in this universe. How arrogant of us to think we're the only living organism in the universe. But I think life comes in many different forms, and I think these sort of light beings, the blue light star beings that we are both in contact with, are pure light, are pure energy. They will take on a form that is a way to contact with us or connect with us, but whether they're actually in some kind of physical body, on some planet, in some constellation, I don't think that's how it works. But just to finish off the information about the Ouroboros, because it's actually a Gnostic and alchemical symbol, and it expresses the unity of all things, material and spiritual, but which never disappear, but perpetually renew. So that what I think they are trying to convey through these symbols is that, you know, in some ways, not to despair, that we can shift this energy that is around us at the moment in a positive way, so that we can have a kind of rebirth for the planet and for us as individuals. Do you want to add anything to that, Sarah, before we talk about the bearded man?
Yeah, I mean, something occurred to me actually about the whole sort of saving the planet, as it were, because this is something that I get lectured on a very localized basis by Blue Man. He's actually obsessive about sort of food not being wasted, water not being wasted, things like that. You know, he shows me when things like pots of yogurt are about to go off and need to be eaten, things like that. So I think there is a huge amount of consciousness raising that blue light beings want to do in terms of just educating us on a very, very small basis, but collectively, where it makes a huge difference. You know, I'm always saying to you, oh, Blue Man wouldn't like you wasting that water.
Yes, yes. So I give it to the plants. If I've finished with it and I can't drink anymore, I give it to the plants. And I always think it's funny that bottles of water have sell-by dates on them. I mean, water? It goes off? Really? We've always got water. And, you know, anyway, that's another story. But then we looked up, what does the beard symbolise? What does the bearded man symbolise spiritually? And of course, throughout history, beards have been very significant with religious symbolism, often representing masculinity, wisdom, and divine favour. And also that often people have imagined that God, to use the word that is probably most commonly used to represent that kind of divine energy, intelligence that manages the universe, if you like, of the universal energy. People imagine God as a bearded man on a cloud. So it's a kind of collective, unconscious symbol. But I think that, and I think a lot of people still have that image. So I would imagine, and I'll ask Sarah in a minute what she thinks, but I would imagine they're using this collective symbol to represent, not that they're God, I don't think it's that at all. I think that it's, that we need to actually unify ourselves, become one with each other, and that there is only the one divine intelligence, and that the fact that we have split it into so many different religious stories is what's holding the whole planet back from growth, from developing. Do you want to add anything to that, Sarah?
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole symbol is a symbol of unification, but I think the symbol is something that is easily recognisable to people, and they can put their interpretation on that. But I think it is a symbol of unity. But also a lot of the sort of mysticism says, bearded man from the East. Well, I'll just put this thought out there. Murray is from Thailand and he has a bit of a beard. So
perhaps he's our saviour.
It's pretty strange to think that a deaf Thai cat could be, but you never know.
You never know. But it is funny that these projections that Sarah has been seeing in the Siamese, the projections that Sarah has been seeing projected into the sky, that Murray the cat, Mystic Murray, is the one that is alerting her to it, as if maybe because he is deaf, he is able to tune into these higher frequencies, and they are using him as a conduit to get Sarah's attention. I mean, I've got 5 cats who are bonkers as well, but for different reasons. And at the moment, they haven't, they haven't got a clue what's going on. So, but there we go. On one of these videos, they may actually appear. We're hoping, we're sort of saying, come on, join in, but nobody has joined in yet. But that was the main information that we wanted to convey this week because of the experience that happened so soon after the first video. And I do think it's interesting that this second take of the video is still running and has not switched off. And yet that first small part switched off as soon as we started talking about the really serious stuff. So take that in whatever way you want. I don't know if you want to say anything about that, Sarah, but...
Well, that could be a bit spooky. I don't know. We'll see.
And maybe it's a way for them to get our attention and say, they are here and they're ready, waiting for myself and Sarah to channel them. And maybe they're saying, yes, they do want me to chat, to tell you what they said to me back in actually January of this year, 2024. So if it's all right with you, I'll just read this through briefly. I might not read it all. I'll kind of scan it and read you the most important bits. But what I find when I connect with the blue star beings is that I just actually sit with my iPad, with my tablet, and just wait for what they say. Sometimes I say, have you got anything you want to tell me? And then it just seems to come into my mind and I just write it down. So when I read these writings, it's like, this doesn't feel familiar to me at all. I have no idea where this came from. So anyway, with no further ado, this is what I wrote. And it was the galactic star beings' arrival on Earth. Blue light star beings. They had told me that their arrival started hundreds of thousands of years ago. And it is not a grand arrival in spaceships. It's light frequency channels that have been gradually opening up, and the galactic beings from the star system Orion use plasma streams of light and sound frequencies to transport their consciousness here to the humans open to receive their signals. Now that's spooky for a start, because when I read this, I thought, what? Because that's what we had kind of intuited together. And it's like Mystic Murray, let's call him Mystic Murray, had picked up the frequency because he's deaf, and so was alerted to the image of light in the sky. So then it goes on. More and more people will find they are able to sense these blue light beings. They will be filled with awe due to the frequency of the plasma jets being transmitted through the galaxy to reach not only planet Earth, but other planets too, in different galaxies and star systems. The information carried on light frequencies will be designed to enable human consciousness to expand and grow within the cosmic awareness that once humanity is awakened and human consciousness elevated, there will be no room for hate, fear, envy, jealousy, or killing. That's interesting because, I mean, in a sense, doesn't that kind of resonate with what BM has been saying to you?
Most definitely.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to say any more before I go on.
No, I mean, his whole ethos is, if somebody does something to you, rise above it, be the bigger person. He actually sort of manifests himself as a much taller light being, more like Penny's light beings, whereas normally he's kind of small and cuddly, a bit like a teddy bear. And, he just believes that one should rise above all the hatred and all the negativity that's in the world and maintain a positive outlook for the betterment of mankind generally, not just oneself. His view is very altruistic. He is not all about, people going out there and being greedy and, acquisitive. He is about altruism, and this is what he espouses on a regular basis. So I think, that really does resonate.
It fits in. And then they went on to say that there is now the first wave of light coming through. Then there will be more waves of, and listen, I have no idea whether any of this is scientifically possible or anything, but I'm just going to tell you what they said. Photonic plasma energy surging through the cosmos at different frequency levels to accommodate and encourage humanity at all varying levels of awareness to wake up at their own speed. It will be a gradual tsunami of consciousness awareness. Some of humanity may not be able to process the frequencies of light being generated, so there will be a division, but ultimately the whole of humanity will experience our arrival, even if they can't feel it for themselves, as there will be a general acceptance that the blue light beings, or star beings as you call us, have arrived, not in a blaze of glory to create fear in spaceships as you describe, but we will teach you how to travel the universe whilst your physical body is in a form of stasis, as your soul energy travels throughout the universe on light and sound frequencies. We will teach you how. The way your planet is governed will slowly crumble and collapse, as it has done in previous civilizations when we visited, but humankind was not evolved enough at that stage to survive. There was still too much primitive states in the human brain, so the cycle of cosmic evolution could not be achieved. So do you want to say anything at that point before I go on?
No, carry on.
Okay. Humans collectively over the coming months and years will refuse to fight in armies due to the inner consciousness awareness the younger generation are experiencing. And so gradually, if the establishment cannot get man to fight another and kill, then gradually a tsunami of change will ensure that wars cannot happen again. Sadly, we cannot predict whether the older primitive ones still in charge or of their massive destructive weapons will not use them. We work hard to help you and them step away from the power and greed that motivates them. They are left brain controlled and resistant to the frequency change being channeled in. So we cannot reassure you of traumatic use of their weapons. What we can assure you of, that there are enough of humankind who are becoming a massive army of light workers, bringing yourselves to the tipping point of change. We are here among you, helping and guiding you towards the change and the rebirth your planet is in desperate need of. Do not worry too much about what and how humanity has done, causing the widespread destruction of your ecosystem, as you are living on a very intelligent cosmic ship of the universe. It has been through these cycles before and survived them, and it will survive and self-heal this time as the consciousness of the planet also evolves. What you need to focus on is waking up individually and connecting with the plasma frequencies where we can guide and help you live your consciousness to the full your mind is capable of, so much more than you have been aware. Don't try hard to tune into us or see us, as we will find all of you when each of you is ready. And then they just went on at this point, which was back in the beginning of January. We will let Penny rest now. We need her to be physically strong to help promote the fact that we've been here and visiting for millions of years. Many of you, including Penny, are seeded from the Orion star system. You will all know if you go within, stay quiet, don't try, and you will hear the whisper of your origins. Well, any comment?
I think every day we are seeing small, gradual signs of awakening within different factions of society. And I think BM is feeling very positive as he sees different factions of society that previously have remained silent are actually standing up and claiming their rights, saying this is unfair. And I'm not going to single out any particular sort of country or anything controversial at all. But I think that there are signs in some countries around the world of people actually suddenly saying this is not acceptable, standing up to governments and actually, really, really trying to change the narrative.
And it is happening. There are sort of, I just remember on the news yesterday that there've been riots going on in Russia and in Eastern Europe, in various parts that are kind of more pro-Russia against the government, which is interesting. And, we'll probably have the little men in black turning up to cart us off. But what we've done with this channel, because we're going to bring it to a close now to let you absorb, not the channel, just this video, to absorb what we've talked about in this particular video, is that what we've done is I've added in the description box for entertainment purposes only. And it's really important, I was explaining to Sarah, to do that. I do it with my astrology as well, because with this woke society, one has to be so super careful about what we put out, what we say. So what I'm adding here is that this video and part 1 of this video are for entertainment purposes only. And we both hope you've really found it valuable, thought-provoking, consciousness-raising awareness. And we're going to try we're not going to try, we are endeavouring to do one of these a week, because I feel that we need to keep the continuity going. And we do want to thank you again so much for the support you've already given us. And please remember to like, comment and subscribe. Let's beat those algorithms, because the more you actually click like, comment and subscribe, YouTube put it up there on people's home pages. Otherwise, if people don't know about it, they don't know about it. They don't see it because they're not going to know to look for it. So that's just a little bit of the kind of the technical stuff behind what we do. So I'd like to say thank you so much for joining us tonight or this afternoon on a windy, sunny day in Gozo. And goodbye from me
and goodbye from me. And we'll keep you posted if there's any more sightings.
Absolutely.
So, you know, we might have little pop-up videos if events happen that we think you need to know about.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good idea, because we can just, one of us can just do a quick short and say something has happened, big, you know, alert, and we're going to do a video on Saturday or something.
Yeah.
So,
So, I mean, this is a work in progress, and we would obviously welcome any sort of suggestions, questions, any input from any of you out of there, because you know, it's nice to know that we're not just talking to a wide open space, that there are people out there who are interested and you know, are enjoying what we're saying. So,
and if any of you are having similar experiences, please let us know in the chat, because I think, you know, this is this, as I said, it's not an exclusive club. We've just decided to be rather brave and come out and say, hey, look, we're bonkers, and we're going to tell you all about this channeling stuff that's happening to us. And, you know, there's me with my astrology channel. So, you know, and please, if you're interested in astrology, do hop over there, because also in about 2 weeks' time, my 2025 videos will be available for every zodiac sign and an overview, and I've been working very hard on those. And also remember, I do my live streams every Sunday night. Tomorrow's December the 1st is the live month ahead for December. And remember, if you do want to see me for an astrology reading or just a spiritual chat about things, then go over to my website, pennydix.com, and send me an email, and we'll sort out a time that suits your time zone and my time zone. And also, Sarah, you have a website.
Yeah, I do. So it's www.hypnotherapybysarah.com, and it explains a little bit about the hypnotherapy services that I can offer that include past life regression facilitation as well. So if any of you would like a quick chat about it, then please feel free to contact me.
Great. There we go. Thank you, Sarah. Let's bring this to a close and upload it. And it's weird that it's switched off, isn't it? But this is actually me switching it off. So bye for now, guys.
Bye for now.
Bye.